Hard work versus smart work. Once upon a time, in a quiet village cradled between misty mountains, there lived two young apprentices, Leo and Max. Though different in nature, both shared a dream to become the greatest blacksmiths the land had ever known. Leo was built like an oak tree, broad-shouldered, strong, and relentless. To him, mastery meant repetition and resilience. He rose with the sun and worked until the stars blinked into the night sky. His hands bore the marks of countless hours at the forge, burns, blisters, and calluses. Each swing of his hammer echoed with grit, and each sword he forged was a testament to his unwavering determination. Max, in contrast, was lean and quiet-eyed, his mind always whirring. He saw the forge not just as a place of heat and metal, but as a puzzle to be solved. Max spent his time reading ancient scrolls, observing nature, and experimenting with techniques that could make the work more precise. While Leo's strength lay in his endurance, Max's was in his strategy. The two respected each other, but a quiet rivalry simmered between them. One day, the village elders announced a grand competition. The best blacksmith would be chosen to receive a legendary hammer, said to be forged by the gods themselves. Word spread quickly, and excitement buzzed through the village like wildfire. Leo dove into his work with renewed vigor. His days became longer, his hammer strokes more forceful. The clang of metal rang endlessly from his forge. He crafted a sword of remarkable strength, flawless, balanced, and as unyielding as his spirit. Max, meanwhile, studied the properties of rare ores and experimented with cooling methods. He designed a blade with a core of flexible steel and an edge of hardened obsidian. The result? A sword that was lighter, sharper, and more agile, crafted not through sheer force, but through insight and ingenuity. When the day of the competition arrived, villagers gathered in the central square, murmuring with anticipation. The panel of judges, master artisans from distant lands, examined each sword with care. Leo's sword was a marvel of strength. Its blade shimmered in the light, and its balance was impeccable. The crowd applauded as the judges nodded in approval. Then came Max's sword. At first glance, it seemed delicate, almost too elegant for battle, but as the judges tested it, slicing through thick ropes, striking stone without dulling, their eyes widened. The blade moved like a whisper but struck like a thunderclap. It was graceful, efficient, and revolutionary. The decision was unanimous. Max was declared the winner. Cheers erupted, and Max was handed the legendary hammer, its handle carved with runes glowing faintly in the sun. Leo stood silent for a moment, his muscles tense, sweat still glistening on his brow. "I worked harder than you," he said quietly, the sting of disappointment in his voice. "Why did you win?" Max placed a hand on Leo's shoulder. "Because it's not just about working hard," he said gently. "It's about working wisely. Strength builds muscle, but thought builds mastery. True power lies in knowing why we do what we do and how we can do it better." Leo looked away, the truth settling slowly like embers in his chest. In the months that followed, Leo didn't abandon his hammer, but he began to ask questions. He observed, experimented, and learned. His swords began to show not just the mark of endurance, but the touch of insight. And Max, too, came to understand the value of sweat, the way trial and error shaped intuition and grit built resilience. Together they became legends. Their forge glowed day and night, a beacon of learning and labor. Apprentices from far and wide came to study under them, not just to shape metal, but to shape themselves. And so, the tale of Leo and Max lived on, whispered around fires and etched into history books. A story that reminded the world that hard work lays the foundation, but smart work builds the masterpiece.